Hello, welcome back to another stream from Tachyon Lance. Today we're going to be looking at some more fleet combat. After the last episode, episode 2 of Fleet Combat, we explored a lot of missiles and strike craft designs, and the missiles just didn't seem to be that effective, or, well, they lost most engagements against a well-balanced fleet. So we're going to be trying a few different things today, and a couple of them come from suggestions from some fans who've watched my videos. So this is the main fleet, which seemed really robust in our last few sessions. Pretty standard build. Going for long range artillery computers. I've been asked to show the computers a bit more. A few people wanted to see that. Everything else is rather standard. Nothing special there. It's artillery computers. The cruisers is similar, long range artillery with a mix of plasma and lasers. So take out shields, armor, hull type weapons, and pretty standard stuff there. This is also, what's it? Line. I guess it's okay because they'll take. I probably wanted some more of that to be artillery, but we'll leave that for now. We'll see how that goes. That might actually work better because they'll take more fire off the battleships. Destroyers. Why is okay, that's fine. Yeah. Okay, the destroyers, the PD destroyers have a mix. They've got some missiles in the fleets with their mix of PD and flak, while our main destroyer fleet is a mix of all these weapon types, which help to balance each other. It is for using picket for the destroyers, so they can get in a bit closer, and same for the PD. They're going to stay at artillery range, so they can use their missiles and PD. Hopefully they'll stay closer to the battleships to cover them and prevent them from taking too much damage, while our corvettes and other destroyers engage the enemy and try and keep them away. And hopefully their fighters and strike craft engage our corvettes and battleships while our bigger ships are doing the damage and ripping them apart. And pretty standard stuff here from the corvette with the swarm computers and afterburners are getting close. So the main change I've done to this is a missile fleet, and this was a request from Jacob Ortiz. So this is his idea. So instead of having the battleship, because I was using the battleships like this in the missile fleet with the artillery weapons. I did try a few combinations, didn't seem to work, but as he pointed out, this is mostly shield damage and hull damage, as we can see there, while most of this fleet with the missiles is shield penetration. Most of it is anyway. Shield penetration or armor penetration to get through to the hull. So we've got shield penetration, and even our corvettes have got massed missiles, mortar missiles, and some people said it's not good to use all missiles on corvettes, but for this test we're just trying it to see how we go. We want to see how massed missiles do against a standard fleet. Now his suggestion was, rather than have artillery, because artillery is just going to pound away on the shields, while the rest of our weapons are going through the shields, so the battleships aren't actually contributing that much to the rest of the fleet. They're working in opposite directions, I guess, if you will. That's what Jacob Ortiz picked up, and so to try and remedy that, we've added battleships. We've changed it up to all missiles, pretty much. One hangar in there because that's what the design allows for, and I've also put a arc emitter in there for shield and armor penetration, which should complement this build. So we're pretty much aiming for most of our fleet to go straight through the shields and hit either the armor or the hull and do more damage to those areas of the enemy ships. Not sure on the arc emitters, they can be rather hit and miss. You can see the damage from 2 to 1690, so it's really random. I tried these against a contingency the other night and didn't actually work that good. Even though these are probably good counter for contingency, I got a lot more success using the giga cannons. I killed a lot more ships because the total damage output from the giga cannons was much greater than the arc emitters, which led to more ships being destroyed, a lot more ships being destroyed. When I used the arc emitters against contingency, it was far fewer ships. But I could have also used cloud lightning against a contingency, but I didn't have that weapon. My friend had it and he had a lot more success, which was good. So we're going to see how this will play out to see if this fleet will now be able to do a lot more damage and carry the day. I'm not sure it will. I don't think it's going to make that much difference. The only other problem we've got here is these guys aren't doing much damage because they're going into the shields, doing 50% less damage than shields, and if they can't get through the shields, we're not going to do much armor. So the only thing we could do is, if this doesn't work, switch these missiles, torpedoes out for Devastator torpedoes, change our computers up, and go in close range and see if we can obliterate this fleet at close range with Devastator torpedoes and long-range missiles. But let's give this one a try first, and we'll see how we go. Okay. Let's see how this works out.
Hostile fleet assets engaged.
The arc emitters are opened up. They killed a few little ships. Look at it. Go the missiles. Most of them look like they missed. They killed something and then didn't retarget. We're just not doing enough damage. I don't see the whole damage going down much. Let's just... Oh, we're catching up a little bit there. Let's just have a look at the damage output here so we get an idea what's going on. The Giga Cannons are doing a lot. Focused arc emitters, okay, they're doing okay. The Giga Cannons are nearly twice as much damage to hull. Kinetic artillery again, that's still way up there. Marauder missiles, whirlwind missiles, okay, that's alright, they're doing okay. See the neutron launchers are way down. So to armor, Marauder missiles, so that means good because they're going straight through the shields, hitting the armor, knocking it down, which we can see here. Knocking the armor down, but not as quick as we'd probably like. Kinetic artillery, the whirlwind missiles, okay, they're going through, doing the damage. Okay, don't see the arc emitters because they're obviously going straight through the hull, which is good. Bit of hull damage there, yep. And shield damage would be, yeah, neutron launchers are just hitting there and they're not being very efficient. So that's probably another area we need to improve on. Let's see how this goes, see if we can close the gap a bit. Losing too many ships. We are doing more damage to their hull. You can see our hull is higher than theirs. Wonder if we can close this battle late. It's certainly a lot closer than the other battles. We're at 5k now. They're taking a lot of damage to their hull. Our armor and shields are gone. Oh, can we pull ahead? Oh, it's a lot closer than I thought it would be. Oh. Oh. This is a long epic battle, ship for ship here. Okay, let's just check the damage again. See how we're going now. Look at those focused arc emitters. Yeah, they're really hurting now. They're the ones that are damaging the hull. Giga cannons, whirlwind missiles, marauder missiles. Yeah, so the whirlwind and marauder missiles are number 1 and 2 for armor damage because they're going straight through the shields. Kinetic artillery, giga cannon, yeah, what you expect for shields and neutron launchers. Okay. See, when the fleet closes range rate, this is probably where the Devastator torpedoes would be really effective. Oh, we could win this. Yeah, we might have it. I think that's our missile fleet. Okay, let's see. Yep. So it looks like. Yep. So the change that Jacob Ortiz suggested with the change of the battleship design, he didn't specifically say arc emitters, but he said for missiles, what the missiles on the battleships, and change that up. That seems to have worked. It was very close, and we've taken a lot of damage, but we did carry the day, and we wiped out the well-balanced fleet with a just a change in the battleships. Really, we're providing the extra missiles and the arc damage. So these guys provide a lot more damage and hammering away on the armor, whereas these guys went straight through the armor and shields and hitting their hull, which seemed to hurt them late in that battle. They started losing a lot of ships. All right, I might change the design up and let's try it with some Devastator torpedoes. All right, so I've changed up the fleet designs. So now we've got the same battleships, same setup we had before. This time the cruisers are Devastator torpedoes instead of the energy torpedoes, and I've changed the computer to torpedoes. So they're going to charge in, get within their torpedo range, hopefully, and fire off their torpedoes. I just hope they having missiles doesn't force them to try and stay at longer range, to actually close in and unleash these torpedoes, because that's what we want. We want to get through those shields and do more damage to the armor. Should complement a lot better than the energy torpedoes. Destroyers are the same. Corvettes, no changes. And the frigates have the Devastator torpedo as well, along with charging in for 2 torpedo range. The only adjustment I made to this fleet was I did make the cruisers stay now at artillery range, and we'll see how that affects the battle as well. Alright, let's see how this plays out. Let's be interested to see if the cruisers keep charging in, not stay at missile range. And they're the cruisers, are they? Yep, the cruisers are charging in. Let's watch them as they unleash their torpedoes. So they're going for the bigger ships. Chasing after the battleships. Okay. Let's pause here. Let's look at the damage. So to hull, kinetic artillery, focused arc emitters, Devastator torpedoes. There you go. They're up. They're getting some damage done. And to armor, yep, the Devastator torpedoes are the strongest. Marauder missiles, whirlwind missiles. So our missile fleet is the top 3 damage to armor now, which is really good. Means we're going through those shields and doing damage to armor. Then the arc emitters will damage the hull, which should really increase the ship losses and damage to shields. So that looks all right. So the fleet looks like it's closing the distance now in terms of fleet power. Oh yeah. It's neck and neck. we're doing a lot of damage to their hull, the armour. Although they're doing a lot of damage to us too. Another close one. Will we be able to win this one? Ooh, maybe not. That's interesting. See, their shields are full. Still close. Oh. Jeez, it's close. Their fleet doesn't have much left in them either. Just took a few more losses early, but look at it. I think our ships charging into torpedo range hurt us. No, I don't know why they do that.
Alert. Fleet unit offline.
Okay, so we lost that one. So Devastator torpedoes didn't seem to be as effective. See, they've still got quite a few ships left, although lots of damage was done. I think what it is, our frigates and cruisers rushed into the enemy. They're taking a lot more damage at point blank range, whereas in the first battle our fleet tried to stay, our bigger ships tried to stay at range, at least our cruisers, and I think we just lost too much firepower early because our cruisers took a lot of damage. So I think that was the difference. So it seems the first fleet was better with the energy torpedoes staying at distance, pounding away, getting that damage done. Allowed more time for the arc emitters as well to do their damage, and for the missiles to whittle down the armor. Alright, very interesting. Okay, I'm going to set up for another test, something a little bit different. Okay, so I've got a little bit different design this time. I've changed a few things because I think mass missiles doesn't really work. I just don't think it's effective enough in a large number of missiles. They seem to target the same ship, and if a lot of them miss, you lose a lot of your alpha strike early. If the ship, if the missiles target, say, a ship at the back and they've overkilled it, lots of missiles can't then retarget because they're already too far behind the battle. So what I've done is, well, let's have a look at the ship design here. This is the one that's changed mostly. The battleships remain the same, no change to the battleship. Cruisers, I've added in some disruptors so that we're going through the shields and armor hitting the hull, because we're closing to very close range. So I wanted to complement our other weapons, our torpedoes, our missiles, our arc emitters, which are going through the shields doing hull damage and armor damage, and now these guys will be going through everything and doing hull damage. So they'll be good for close in. When they're closing close, we've got a little bit more firepower, hopefully. We're doing a little bit more damage. So that's for the cruisers. And they'll be charging in to torpedo range again. We'll see how they hold up. That's the PD destroyers. I have not changed them. They're remaining the same to protect our pretty much our battleships. Our destroyer class, I've added in a couple of disruptors again, so they can close to, they're going into picket range, and so they can fire off their missiles and do some damage with the disruptors as well. So I'm just trying to balance the missiles and disruptors. So the whole fleet philosophy is about shield penetration, armor penetration, trying to get as much damage to that hull, and if we can't get through the hull with the weapons, then we damage the armor at least. The corvettes, same. I've put some disruptors on there. We did have 3 missiles, So I'm taking the advice of one of our members of chat, one of the fans who made a comment on the previous video. The name's written in Asian language, so sorry I don't know what your name actually is, but thank you, because you suggested that not to put all missiles on the corvettes. So we're mixing it up. Disruptors is probably the next best to complement our overall philosophy of the fleet, to stay sort of all working together for the same objective. So this is what we've got: shield and armor penetration, and we've got the missiles which can fire a bit longer range. I did think about going all disruptors, but I thought no, I want something to fire off as we're charging in. We want to get some long range shots in as well. So that's pretty much all the corvettes will be doing that. The other fleet remains the same, so there's no change in that. I'll just show the corvettes computers that still swarm, and the destroyers is one is artillery. That's the PD to remain close to our battleships to try and stop any missiles and fighters from them, and they'll be shooting off their long range missiles. And our destroyers will be going to pick, our other destroyers going to pick at range to use their disruptors. Cruisers are charging in to torpedo range, same with our frigates, and battleships remaining at artillery range. Let's see if this changes anything or if it's worse. The arc emitters, first follow missiles, slow it down. Cruisers charging in, there go all our disruptors. We do look like we're doing a lot more damage. Numbers have evened up a lot quicker than last time. You can see all our disruptors firing off everywhere. The destroyers are in there, cruisers are in there. Let's pause and have a look at the damage and see what's doing the damage. So the hull, Giga Cannon, arc emitters, close phase disruptors doing a lot of damage. Artillery, whirlwind missiles, devastator torpedoes are there as well. Haven't done too much. The missiles have done the most to armor, whirlwind missiles, artilleries, marauder missiles. Then the devastator torpedoes have done more to the armor, which is good. And that's the artillery, mostly for shields. So I guess the main change, the medium phase disruptors there are doing some damage. The small ones are doing the most, we've got the most of them. So they are doing significant damage to the hull. 10,000, and arc emitters as well. So the phase disruptors are doing about the same damage as the arc emitters, the same to the hull. Let's see how this goes. See the hull damage going down, our armor's going down. Our armor seems to be holding up better this time. Oh yeah, they're taking a lot of damage. Look at that. They're going down. Okay, let's have a look at the battle. Let's have a look at the damage again now. So those phase disruptors are in there as well. You got the big artillery doing a lot of damage. The focused arc emitters. The arc emitters very random. Sometimes they're up the top, sometimes they're not. Depends on how many hits actually do large damage. Good disruptors are in there. That's good. The torpedoes are rising up. They've done a fair bit. There, yeah, devastator torpedoes now up the top for the armor. They've got in multiple volleys by now. This is where the devastator torpedoes are so effective. Once you've done significant damage, they're going to take out those ships. So with the arc emitters, those disruptors will just be tearing into the shields as well. You can just into the hull. See that? Yeah, the hull was going down rapidly. Focus fire. Yeah. Whoop. Let's go. Look, next one. it's evened up again. Oh, they've lost nearly most of their hull. They're going down quick now. Look at their shields, they're still full. Everything is pretty much focused on going through the shield, so there we go. I think that was a pretty comprehensive win, that one. So I guess we've shown that if you're going to use missiles, Disruptors is a good combination, or if you're going to use Devastator torpedoes, Disruptors is good to put in to add in that close range support, which complements those weapons, complements the Devastator torpedoes, complements the missiles. Doesn't complement the energy torpedoes, because they're more long range, focused on the armor. They're more good when the shields are down. In this case, we're not doing damage to shields, so they would be ineffective. That's why I changed the Devastator. So you can see that in the Devastators did a lot of damage. Disruptors did a lot of damage. The arc emitters were good. So it was all, and the missiles are good. So they're all main weapon types are complementing each other. So I think that worked really, really effectively. So I quite like that. So there's another type I want to show, because we've sort of been playing a lot of multiplayer lately and a lot of ship battles, and just there seems to be a common theme, and I want to show that off next. Okay, for this fight, I'm using a different type fleet. We're using 10 battleships, 22 cruisers in this fleet. And this fleet has the same cruisers and battleships as this fleet, which is our standard design. Click on this one, so you can see it's our standard artillery type battleships. Artillery, no changes to the designs we've been using for our standard fleet. Cruisers, so it's all long range battle, large weapons. So that's a big ship fleet of battleships and cruisers versus our well-balanced fleet, which we've been using for the last couple of videos. It does have some missiles and PD in there, so I don't think there's any PD. I think there's any missiles in that other fleet, so it's a bit of a waste, but there's no changes at all. I just want to compare how this type of fleet will do. And we do have some torpedoes from the frigates, but we'll see how a well-balanced fleet does against a larger fleet of bigger ships, and if these guys can actually target these smaller ships, or if these smaller ships will just wreck these big ships. Like they said, you know, we've got 10 frigates in there with the energy torpedoes, so we'll see how they go. I probably will want to run this test with some more torpedoes in the cruisers for maybe the next battle for this fleet, but we'll see. This fleet might totally wreck this one, or this one might totally wreck that one. It's just we've noticed in multiplayer games we've been playing that fleets like this tend to be dominating. Maybe not this type of weapon loadout, it might be a bit different, but that's what I've noticed. Let's see what's happening with the opening rounds of attack. So obviously artillery is going to be doing a lot of damage. So we've got the plasma cannons. Not much for anything with torpedoes there. So neutron launchers down at the very bottom, because they probably haven't got through the shields yet. Yeah, still not doing much damage at all. Do you think the neutron launchers would be doing more damage? Unless they should still be in the fight, I think. I can't see any frigates left. It's like the frigate's got, unless it's not showing up. No, I think the frigates got obliterated in the opening minutes, opening seconds. So we can see what's happening here. Look at the hull damage they've lost. The kicker cannon. Torpedoes played no real part. I think the frigates got wasted early. So I think we know how this battle ends. Let's speed it up. Big guns and having trouble killing the little ships, but you can see the battleships and cruisers won against a well-balanced fleet, and this is what we've been seeing in our multiplayer games. Just depends on the makeup of the other fleet. That generally the bigger fleets are doing better still. All right, let's. I'll change the design. I'll get some more Devastator torpedoes in the other fleet, and we'll put some cruiser torpedoes in the other fleet too. Okay, for this battle, what we've changed up, we've changed the cruisers to our Devastator type. So we've got some more firepower from our torpedoes rather than just artillery range weapons that we had previously. So we've got some disruptors and some missiles, so for some close range support and a lot more long range support as well. Our destroyers are the same. I can show you that the torpedo computer is on for those guys. The cruisers, corvettes are the same, and our frigates, which got wasted in like the first couple of seconds of the last battle, is the same. Except we got Devastator torpedoes this time with the combat computers for torpedo. Our other fleet remains unchanged. Battleships, standard battleships, artillery, standard cruisers with artillery. Nothing fancy. So everything is the same. The main difference is the Devastator torpedoes in this fleet. We'll see if that changes the outcome, and there's a few more disruptors in this fleet. Hopefully see those Devastator torpedoes do really, really well. I'm hoping. They should do a lot more damage to the bigger ships. Oh yeah, it took some hits then. Still taking a lot of damage, although there you can see they get whacked with the Devastator torpedoes when they hit. Let's pause this. They're definitely taking more damage. Yeah, because the Devastator torpedoes are up there in third for damage to hull, and second for armor, and behind the artillery. That's pretty good. So the Devastator torpedoes are being a lot more effective. See if we can actually win the fight though. Yeah, 6 cruisers. Yep, leveling up. The smaller ships may be proving too hard to target at the moment. A lost a lot of hull though. Ooh. Let's see what the damage is doing now. Still artillery damage to hull, number 1. Devastator torpedoes are 3rd. Still 2nd. Devastator torpedoes, but yeah, it's a lot better than those neutron ones weren't doing much at all. That's the main difference this battle. The torpedoes, Devastator. It looks like we're going to win. Maybe. Only 1 battleship left or 2. These are all the reserves that come back to the fight. Don't know why it does that for some reason. Probably I didn't set the station. These just appear randomly in the system. Okay, so you can see a complete turnaround by using the Devastator torpedoes. So, and that's what we've seen in our games. We've seen larger ships, cruisers and battleships are doing very well, or battleships and corvettes, or battleships and destroyers. They seem to do really well. So, if you see that in your games, you're going to have to, if you're playing against some multiplayer people, you're going to have to use those Devastator torpedoes if people are just opting to build those bigger ships. You might build lots of frigates, spam them with lots of frigates in a fleet. You might reduce the corvette numbers. I'm not sure what you're going to do. There's so many possible combinations you can do. But we can see there that a well-balanced fleet with Devastator torpedoes is very effective against a fleet using just larger ships. Whereas when we weren't using them, we got destroyed pretty quickly. You need those Devastator torpedoes to do that damage to the bigger ships. With that multiplicative damage from the torpedoes, particularly from those cruiser torpedoes. That's why in my video I did about a week ago, I was saying the cruisers are the new meta, and the reason for that, if you just a classic demonstration here, still got 6 cruisers left out of 10. Now the cruiser Devastator torpedo. Now, not exact. This is not the design I had last time in the video, but it's similar. The reason why these are far more effective than the frigates is because you look at the hull points, armor, and shields. And this is just standard stuff. This is nothing special in here. So we've got what's that? 5,100, 6,900 points of armor, hull, shields. And we've got 3 torpedo launchers, so we're able to do the damage of 3 frigates. And if you look at the frigates, they had 6,900 hull versus what's this? 620. What's that? 1490. My maths right? 1490. Yeah, I think so. So 1490, so what's that? That's 447, is it? 4,470 hull points, around that. So we're about at a 2,000 deficit overall in terms of hit points, hull, armor, shields. 3 frigates versus 1 cruiser. So 10 cruisers has 20,000 more hit points than the equivalent number if you had 60. If you had 60 frigates, we'd have 20,000 more hit points. So the frigates would still be doing that same amount of number of torpedo launches, but they've got to do 20,000 more damage to us than we do to them, which that it may work out in the multiplicative damage, maybe. So, but in a big battle like this, that's why the cruisers, torpedo cruisers, are really effective, because they're able to absorb that damage and keep fighting for much longer in the fight. Like, how many frigates have we got left here at the end of the battle? None. Again. And in that previous battle, when we paused and stopped and had a look, there was no frigates left after like what, 20 seconds, 25 seconds, something like that. They're all gone because they charged in, and because they got so little hull points, they got whacked by their ships, probably the destroyers and corvettes, just chopped into pieces, and they're all dead. So that was yeah, not very effective. The frigates, there's no frigates left here again, although this battle was much longer. But yet I've got 6 cruisers left. I've still got 60% of my cruiser fleet left. So you can see there that the cruisers are probably the thing doing the most damage. It's just the Devastator torpedoes were doing a lot of damage, and they were mostly from the cruisers, yet they were the fleet manager for that fleet. Cruisers are 10 ships. Out of all the rest here, you got 40 corvettes, 10 frigates, 20 destroyers, and you can see there, no frigates left, hardly any destroyers left. Got a bunch of corvettes and cruisers and a couple of battleships. So the cruisers were very effective at lasting longer. These guys did their jobs, sacrificed themselves to keep the cruisers in the fight and the battleships in the fight. So I guess that's my conclusion for this video. I think we've shown here that missiles can be effective when balanced right with the complementary weapons you're using to go through shields and armor, disruptors, arc emitters. You're using the missiles and on all the ships, including your battleships, to complement the rest of the fleet. And that's thanks to Jacob Ortiz. He pointed that out. So thank you for that comment. If you guys want to see specific ship designs or type of fleet design or battle setup, let me know. Send comments. If you liked what this video has shown, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you don't like it, let me know. Let me know what you don't like, so I can improve upon it or show what you want to see. So I'm only guessing what you want to see and going off a few comments. So I think I'll end it for now. I think that's enough for this video, and I'll see you next time.